Today is a day for so many that will never be the same. It will always be impacted by the tremendous trauma and pain that took place on this horrendous day. My name is Jasmine Delafoss. I am a lifelong resident of San Joaquin County and Stockton. And I am here today on the behalf of Jaykie, Justice League California, a task force of the Gathering for Justice, a national organization founded by Mr. Harry Belafonte and led by our CEO and President Carmen Perez, who has committed her life towards building the beloved community and fought tirelessly for justice and the civil rights movement for the most vulnerable and marginalized communities. We have committed ourselves today to stand in solidarity with people like Jacob Servin. Today, on December 2nd, 2020, marks the one-year anniversary of the life-threatening assault on Jaykie Servin inside the San Joaquin County Jail. Jaykie was left completely unrecognizable, covered in blood and bruises, eyes swollen shut with several fractured ribs, a broken nose, damaged vertebrae in his neck, and severe injuries from his head to his toes. He still does not know the names of the officers who called him racial slurs while beating him so badly they almost broke his neck. And 1 year later, the public still does not know if any disciplinary action has been taken, or even if actions will be taken against the officers. Justice League California is calling upon Sheriff Pat Withrow, San Joaquin District Attorney Tori Salazar, to take the side of justice, accountability, and transparency for San Joaquin County community, and reject, condemn any behavior of police violence, corruption, and hold all officers accountable.
That's right.
On several occasions throughout the year, we have made countless pleas and demanded that the Board of Supervisors, that the Sheriff Pat Withrow himself, the District Attorney Office, take action. We made countless public statements calling on our leaders to release the names of all the officers involved and assure that community that these officers were not putting any other persons in a life-threatening position. We urged and demanded throughout the entire year for the public to be informed of all agencies involved, to release a timeline of events in order for community to understand the process of the protocol investigation, which dates provided. Still, to this day, we have heard nothing on what is going on. What we know and believe is that what happened is a felony assault under the cover of the law. Jacob was beaten within an inch of his life by the officers in an area of San Joaquin County Jail that didn't have cameras. And we've seen countless staff who stood idly by and refused to intervene. What happened to Jacob, as we know, is not the only incident of a beating that has occurred in San Joaquin County Jail.
Say that.
We know there's a pattern and practice of civil rights violations happening inside this jail.
All the time.
We have heard without an update on the status of the protocol investigation. We must assume that no disciplinary actions whatsoever has been taken. The Sheriff's Department's mission statement on their website says, the San Joaquin Sheriff's Office is dedicated to delivering quality service through the creation of partnerships with the people we serve. All members of this department will carry out their duties and responsibilities in such a manner to afford dignity, respect, compassion to every individual with whom they come in contact with. With community partnerships as our foundation, we are driven by the goals to enhance the quality of life, investigating problems as well as incidents, seeking solutions, and fostering a sense of security for community and individuals. We nurture public trust by holding ourselves to the highest standards of performance and ethics. So let me ask, what happened to Jacob that goes against everything this mission statement says? Where was the compassion for Jacob? Where was the dignity and respect for Jacob? Where was the standard of performance and high ethics? It has been an entire year and justice has not been served. Justice League California is calling on the following demands. Release the names of the disciplinary records of all the officers who brutally beat Jacob Servin.
Yes.
Fire, arrest, and charge the
Yes.
officers for their actions.
Yes.
Provide an update of the protocol investigation to the public.
Yep.
Sheriff Pat Withrow, develop a community oversight committee that is created with community.
Now.
Again, as mentioned in your mission statement, dedicated to delivering quality services through the creation of partnerships with people we serve and the community as a foundation. We also urge immediately that they work towards creating new policies that bring transparency, accountability for officers that work within San Joaquin County. Today, you will hear directly from Jacob, his mother, impacted families, community leaders, who are all in solidarity to Jaykie. First, I'd like to take this moment to recognize Jacob and his resistance and his commitment. He's a living survivor. Not often do we have living survivors telling their stories. And Jacob is here today to tell his stories of the injustice that is happening every day in this county, in this jail. And today we say no more. And we will continue to resist, to continue to show up.
That's right.
And we demand that they understand which side they want to take. And it's the side of justice. It's the side of what is right. I'd like to take a moment to introduce Jacob Servin.
Thank you all for being here today. It has been 1 year since these deputies who had a duty to keep the peace went beyond all means of protection and viciously beat me nearly to death. A cruel crime such as this can never be reasoned or justified. It has been 1 year and the sheriff department has yet to release any of the names of the deputies involved. This was not an isolated incident. There is a pattern of practice in the sheriff's department, and we as a community must break this pattern. These are state employed workers, which mean our tax dollars are funding their pension. We are done funding hate, and we are done funding discrimination and abuse of authority to the people of our communities. From the people we first trusted to keep us safe. We are done seeing our families being brutalized in our community. How many more brothers are they going to send home with disfigured faces? How many more husbands are they going to die in the hands of the sheriff's deputies? How many more sisters and mothers are they going to harass and brutalize in this department? How many more cases are we going to hear year after year with no change? As I've stated from the moment I started rising up against the system until now, this isn't about me, this is about all of us. As a community, we must continue to fight for public safety, community safety, and ultimately safety. We must rise up for any other victim or family member who has been brutalized by this corrupt department. Before me or after me, we are with you. You are not alone. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Pastor Leon Scoggins, and I am the lead pastor of Life City Church that is located here in Stockton, California. This is a sad occasion because we are still here and there is no justice that has been done. I believe that is my job as not just unity member, but as a church leader.
Right.
To be here to say that the church does not stand for what has happened to Jacob. We're not just here, cameras. We're here because this is a time where we will not stand for injustice. And one of the things that I want when there is injustice that is happening, it is our job, my job as a pastor, to make sure that we hold the feet to the fire of everyone that's in the building behind us and in other offices, to let you know that we will continue to push for justice. We will continue to make sure that our churches push for justice. We will continue to make sure that everyone that is under, the thousands of people who are under our influences, understand what justice really looks like. If it serves my memory correctly, when coronavirus first started, Sheriff Patrick Withrow was at one of the Christian events right in front of City Hall, which lets me know that he is a man of faith. And if he is a man of faith, me as a prince in the Lord's church, wants to remind Sheriff Patrick of a scripture that talks about justice. There's a scripture in Proverbs chapter 21, verse 15 that says, when justice is done, it is a joy to the righteous, but a terror for evildoers.
Right.
Which lets us know that if there is no justice, it's only those who are evil who don't want to see justice done. Sheriff Patrick, if that scripture doesn't tickle your fancy, there's another scripture in Psalms 37, verses 27 through 29 that says, turn away from evil and do good. So shall you dwell forever. For the Lord loves justice. It's not just us, but loves justice. He will not forsake his saints. They are preserved forever, but the children of the wicked, or should I say the children of San Joaquin County Sheriff's Department, shall be cut off. The righteous shall inherit the land and dwell upon them forever. Sheriff, if you're watching this, I know you are. I want to pull on your faith. This is not about a political move. This is not about a political side. This is not about Democrat or Republican. This is not about white or black. This is literally about our faith coming together to make sure that we get justice for this young man. I also want to call on the integrity of our San Joaquin District Attorney, Miss Torrey. I want to call on your integrity. The dictionary says that integrity is the quality of being honest and having strong moral principles and understanding holding up righteousness is key. My definition of integrity is doing the right thing when nobody's looking. And there's no way in the world that you can tell me that this shows integrity. There's no way in the world, Sheriff, you can tell me that a young man in your custody is receiving justice when he looks like this after coming into your care. So I want to pull on everybody. I want to pull on all of the community leaders. I want to pull on every single pastor in San Joaquin County, every single pastor in Northern California, every single pastor in the Western Pacific region to make sure that we stand up for justice, to make sure that every person that is a part of our community, every person that we preach to, every person that we want to save their souls, that when injustice happens to them by other leaders who are supposed to be community protectors, do the opposite of that. We have to hold them accountable. Again, my name is Pastor Leon Scoggins, and I do indeed approve of this message.
He said, I indeed. That's right.
That was a word. I hope y'all heard that. I have the honor to introduce Jaykie's mother, Angelina, and she'll be speaking right now. So. Good morning.
Good morning.
I just want to say before I read what I have to say is that my son was chosen by God. He did not lose his life because God has a plan for him. He's going to do whatever it takes to make changes, not just for himself, but for others that have been in the same place that he has. I never thought that any of my children would ever be beaten by the police. I thought the police were here to protect and to serve. But I was wrong. My son Jacob was beaten while in the police custody. He was beaten nearly to death by the very police officers that were sworn to protect and to serve. He did not resist arrest. He did not pose a threat to their lives. He did not fight them or assault them in any way. But yet, they pounded him, stomped him, kicked him, and punched him directly in his face, causing severe
injuries, physically and psychologically. These wounds can never be healed. Seeing my son in such a horrific injury caused my emotions to fly. I was broken hearted, full of anger, full of rage, full of resentment and fear. I I hurt so deeply for my son. How could the police have beat my son as if he were a savage animal when indeed my son was a helpless human being? How could they beat my son and have no compassion or humanity for his life? These officers, including the ones that just watched, have a black heart and they have a heart of stone. These officers today have not been disciplined for their participation in the beating of my son. On that horrifying night, which only assures that they will do it again and again. No human being should be beaten nearly to death by anyone, especially not the police. No mother should have to experience the helplessness of seeing their child severely beaten. I have shed so many tears. Just thinking about this causes my heart to ache and tears to stream down my face. When I see a police officer, I get sick to my stomach and suddenly find myself suffering from anxiety. I truly do not see police protecting me nor anyone else. The officers involved in Jacob's beating need to pay for what they did.
Yes.
They should not be allowed to get away with it.
Right.
We as a community must join together and fight to stop police brutality. Our voices must be heard.
That's right.
We will not allow them to silence us. We cannot stand by quietly as this continues to happen over and over again. We must demand justice, not just for my son, Jaykie, but for everyone who has experienced police brutality and especially for those that have lost their lives in the law enforcement brutality of any kind. To all of you that may have lost a loved one at the hands of the police or have been affected by it, please know that my heart and prayers go out to you. Please join me and let your voice be heard. God bless you all.
Next, I'm going to introduce our very own civil rights leader, organization, and civil rights leader, Sammy Nunez with Fathers and Families of San Joaquin.
Good morning, good afternoon, relatives. First of all, I just want to extend my deepest, sincerest, just genuine desire to make certain that we don't have to have these meetings anymore, that we don't have to have these gatherings anymore. In the words of Angela Davis, she said, I can no longer accept the things I cannot change. I must change the things I can no longer accept. What I can no longer accept is having mothers looking for justice only for it to be denied. It's unacceptable. Unacceptable. What we can no longer accept is coercion, corruption, and downright cover-ups from our law enforcement bodies and our community and across the United States. That is no longer acceptable. Unacceptable. What we can no longer accept are politicians that look the other way, pandering to us when they want our vote, but ignoring our families when they're looking for justice. We can no longer accept that. Unacceptable. What we can no longer accept is a DA who refuses to prosecute crooked cops. We can no longer accept that. Unacceptable. We're told that we should wait. Trust the system. It'll work for you. Give it time. No, we don't want no more time given. We want justice now. We're told, there's going to be evidence coming out. They will expose these officers at some point later on down the line. No, we don't want to wait till tomorrow. We want that now. We're told, you just wait. You'll get your civil rights. You'll get your rights restored. You'll be protected by the system that is entrusted by us as a people to protect you at some point. No, we want to feel safe now. We keep on being told to wait patiently. How much more can you expect us to wait? To be given the, not even just civil rights, but full human rights, to be seen not only just as a citizen, but as a human being that is worthy of feeling safe by the people that we entrust. Now, not tomorrow, not next week, not next election, not next year, but now. Now, now. We want it now, not tomorrow. I am upset by this already. I am so upset that we have to continue to show up for these kinds of things. We should have already dealt with all these things, not tomorrow, but now. We expect the sheriff to do his job, and that is to ensure our safety. Our safety, not the police officers that did this brutal act, our safety. I want to acknowledge the brothers and sisters that are behind these walls right now, that they are human beings, that they are our relatives, that those are our mothers and fathers, and we will not allow anyone to brutally assault them when they have all the power in the world and they are completely powerless against it. We are not going to allow that any longer. We are demanding justice now. And you know, the fact of the matter is that it will be denied. We know that. We know that until we continue to fight and push and pull, continue to show up. And so this is an invitation to our community. If you know this pain, and I know you do, if you understand the legacy that we are talking about right now and choose to disrupt that, then we know we're here for you. You should know that we're here for you. It's an invitation to you to join us. To join us before this comes knocking on your door. And we have to show up for you and your mother, or you and your son, or you and your daughter, just because they can. That's the only reason they get away with it, because they can. And I want to say that is no longer acceptable. Unacceptable. I just want to pray for you, Mom, lift you up. We center everything around our mothers. The mothers' love and protection is what we need most right now. Our mothers are the ones that sacrifice their bodies to give us birth, and they sacrifice their lives to protect us and ensure that we have a chance in this world, that we have the love that we need, that we have the safety that we need to thrive, not just to survive. And so we center all this work around our mother's love. And for the love of our mothers, we say justice now. Now. Here you go, Jasmine.
Like Sammy mentioned, that our mothers are carrying this burden, that our father, that our parents, that our sisters and brothers and sisters are all carrying it. Everyone carries the price and the cost of what happens when this happens. I want to introduce Tashante McCoy, who will talk about the importance of supporting and standing with mothers and families, and know that when we have these 1 year anniversaries, that they're living this every single day, beyond today. Holidays are different. Every single day will never be the same. Things are always different. So I'm going to introduce Tashante McCoy, who will then introduce another impacted family, Miss Stephanie Hatton.
Greetings. I humbly stand before you first as a vessel and servant of God, and then as a community leader who has had so many experiences of trauma and holding space for individuals who've been affected by trauma. And I find something extremely interesting that for some reason, victims of police brutality have been left out of a lot of those conversations. And it's just not okay. I've been in a lot of spaces as a Public International Initiative and Building Community Trust, I am a part of the City Managers Governing Board and recently became a part of the National Task Force on Policing. So many conversations, so many dialogues, um, and opportunities to gab back and forth and have a conversation. Well, as we come out of 2020 and into 2021, we're done just having conversations.
Right.
The expectation is always for us as community to be vulnerable and accountable for our actions and our parts. But we have to shift that narrative and that culture that it mirrors the same for those who have been sworn in to protect and serve. Where vulnerability and accountability is the driving force behind what we do. As I said earlier, I have had the opportunity, um, which is a blessing for others who feel abandoned, to create space for families. And never did I ever imagine that someone so close and near and dear to me would become a victim of police murder and violence. And I'm taking my time because it's hard. It's hard to stand in front of you all and actually say that and prepare to introduce his mother, someone who played a large role in my entire family's life. It's hard for me. And it's easy to detach from the reality of what these type of situations um, create for us as family and for children and for wives and for mothers. It's easy to detach. And so my prayer before I bring up Stephanie is that you really take some time to sit and process what it is that we are experiencing in this nation when it comes to police violence, and how each of us have an important role to play in scaling it back and taking it back, and really seeing it as a community problem instead of their problem or our problem. It's a community problem, and it requires for all of us to step up and be accountable. I just reflecting and thinking about that, I got that phone call that Wednesday, right after the announcement of the city manager's governing board. Hours later, to get that phone call that our loved one Anton Burgess had lost his life was extremely, extremely shocking. And to have to go see about them and to continue to walk on this journey with them um, has been hard, but it's necessary. And so I know she's standing behind me, and we've had several conversations. And I want to introduce to you one of the strongest women that I've ever met in my life, next to my own mother, Michelle. Um, the mother of Antoine Maurice, Miss Stephanie Hatton. Before I hand the microphone to her, I want us all to do something that we stand in solidarity with Jaykie as a family directly impacted, that we take just a few seconds to pause and reflect on those who have lost their life. Thank you.
Thank you. I am Stephanie Hatton. I am the mother of Antoine Maurice. My family stands strong in solidarity for Jake. Jaykie withstood the abuse from someone that we were taught as a child to call if you need help.
Right.
And look at what he did to Jaykie prior to my boy. I heard at home for him, not knowing him, but I cried for him. How could somebody do this to someone? How could our officers do this to a human being? Being here, I'm honored to be here. I'm privileged. How I got here, they shot my boy, Antoine Maurice, horribly. And what it gave me was that ability to seek out anybody that's withstanding the pain that I live every day.
It's not getting better. And look at what it's done. It put me in the hands of some wonderful people. I piggyback everything folks prior to me said. And I am here to tell you that I will not continue to pay my tax dollars to somebody that's going to kill in my community.
Yes, yes.
I am not going to contribute to the ill behaviors that we will get incarcerated for on spot. I will not support Stockton PD until they stop discussing and do their job. I raised my children to respect the law, and they shot my son with his hands up. But what I do know coming up is those city leaders were described to me as a young child, as the leaders of our community, and look at what they've done. They've allowed it to get out of hand, not only on the outside, but on the inside, where we can't get to our kids. You took some rights that you don't have.
Right.
From the mayor on down. And we will not shut up. We are not backing down.
Right.
Because you cannot beat this pain that we feel.
Right.
And because of people like Deshante and Samuel, they taught us, you take it and you turn it, and that becomes your weapon. So that we can stop these weapons and these hands and this brutality that's in our face. We can use what we got, and that's our pain.
Right.
Again, it's been a pleasure to meet Jaykie. I'm feeling honored, and I am here until the day I die. I have been a substance abuse counselor for over 30 years, and never in my day with all the police, parole, feds, had I seen what I've seen in my own city. Zero tolerance. We want action now.
That's right.
Not yesterday.
Right. Now.
Now.
Right. Now.
Thank you. This is his wife, and that's his sister.
Antoine Maurice, say his name.
Antoine Maurice.
Jacob Servin, say his name.
Jacob Servin.
Next, I have yes. I have the honor to introduce Justice League California members and also another impacted family, Michelle and Ashley Monterosa, who come all the way here from Vallejo, whose brother was killed June 2nd, 2020 by Vallejo PD by the name of Sean Monterosa. Today, they could be home, they could be mourning, they could be at the cemetery, but they chose to stand in solidarity with Jacob today. They understood that their struggle is our struggle. Their pain is our pain. And today, I'm honored to have them here today. They recognize that it is all our responsibility to stand when our brothers and sisters are hurt, to stand when things are unjust. And I'd like to call up Michelle and Ashley, who will also speak right now.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ashley Monterosa, and right here is my sister, Michelle Monterosa. And we are the surviving sisters of our brother, Sean Monterosa, who was murdered 6 months ago today. Today being the 1 year of Jacob as well. And unlike Jacob, my brother can't be here today. Jacob lived, but Sean died with his hands up kneeling. And 2 months ago, on the 4-month anniversary, Jacob decided to stand in solidarity with our brother and protest with us at the governor's mansion. And unfortunately, we were arrested by 80 officers of CHP, and we were in Sacramento County Jail and held between 20 and 23 hours. And Jaykie, having the trauma he did experienced here, he decided to, regardless, stand in solidarity with us and put his body on the line again. And he could have easily been beaten again in Sacramento County Jail, but he stood and fought for justice, fought for Sean, who can't be here today. And here we are today again, standing in solidarity with all these impacted families behind us. And it's a struggle every day.
We shouldn't have to be reliving our traumas here every day. We shouldn't have to fight for something that should be a given.
All the mothers here, we hear you. I feel your pain. Jaykie, you, sister and wife, I feel your pain. And like Ashley said, Jaykie, you put your body on the line with us. You were held in there as long as we all were. Same with Jasmine. And it's one of these things where impacted families should not have to put their bodies on the line to get an acknowledgement from these deputies, from city council, to mayors, to governor. Our loved ones are not performative activism. You cannot say our loved ones' names and not do anything about it. We came all the way from San Francisco. But it's the same issue all around, nationwide. But Stockton is calling out for help. You had the opportunity to stand here in the front lines with these impacted families and fight for Jaykie. A year after, why did it take a year to get, he doesn't even have names. He doesn't have footage. He doesn't have anything. That is so wrong. Right. And if Ashley and I have to continue to put our bodies on the line here in Stockton, we will. And like I said, as the pastor said, and I told one of these mothers earlier, God doesn't give the biggest battles to his weakest warriors. And I believe that our brothers, who are the vessels of the Lord, and are giving us this platform to fight for our loved ones, but also fight for the living. We have to fight for Jaykie as hard as we're fighting for our loved ones. It's really hard. 6 months, but also a year for our brother. And it should have not taken a year for Jaykie. He should have had answers right away. But we will continue to apply pressure. Stockton, best believe you're going to be on a microscope soon. Just like Vallejo's on a microscope, we're coming for you, Stockton. And for the community of Stockton, we will bring out whoever we need to out here. We'll bring San Francisco, the whole Bay Area, to stand in solidarity with you guys, because this is a big issue. And it's not 2020, it's long overdue. Justice delayed is justice denied. Right. We love you guys. Thank you, Jasmine, for having us here. Thank you, Jaykie. And thank you, Mama. And this is a thing for the mothers. I hear my mother cry every day and pray to the Lord why. But God always tells my mom that Sean is a soldier. And I know that all our brothers and sisters, they are soldiers, and God chose them for a reason, and they're waiting for us. Thank you. Amen.
Take a breath. I hope people understand the severity of the pain. Right. That is just happening here, but there's untold stories home. There's stories of people who are home who haven't been heard. Must we also remember and recognize them? As we begin to close, we want to thank you for being here. I'd like to close with my brother Raymond, who will reiterate the demands, who will share again why we are here, and then to join this movement, please continue to follow Jaykie. You can follow him on his social media at Jaykie at Jaykie. You can also follow Jaykie's campaign at Gather for Justice or gatheringforjustice.org. You can also keep up with the sisters' families page at Justice for Sean on Instagram and on also all other social media outlets. And you can continue to sign a petition that will bring justice to Jaykie. The petition is bit.ly/justice for Jaykie. All one word, one line, and sign the petition to bring justice for Jaykie, demanding that the sheriffs and the district attorney take action.
Good evening, everyone. It is sad to be here on this day. Sad because we have lost so many of our people. So many of our Black and brown folks have lost their lives. Lost their lives behind people that we're supposed to protect, right? Protect in this community. They are not all there to protect us. Some are there to hurt and harm. We have lost George Floyd. We have lost Antoine Burrs. We have lost Sean Montorosa. And we almost lost Jaykie. Almost lost his life. An inch of his life was almost taken from him. The police officers almost snapped his neck. He already had an existing injury. I'm a friend of Jaykie. I'm a community member. I'm a father. And I would not ever sit idly by and allow this to happen to my son. This is not the Jake Sir and I know. They beat him so bad that he was unrecognizable. We did not recognize him. And we are asking for accountability. We are asking for somebody to stand up and be bold and say, we are no longer going to stand idly by and allow these injustices to continue to happen. Not here in Stockton. No, not here anywhere. But right here in our backyard, we're going to stand up for our brother, for our friend, for our community member. Fathers and Families is an organization that stands by and supports those who have been victimized of crime. Our Trauma Recovery Center and our TRC have seen many faces like this. And we continue to fight every day so that way these things do not happen. And we are not going to allow mothers to come up here and cry every day and pour their hearts out. Some mothers can no longer go on when they lose their fathers, their sons, their brothers, their children. We are hurting. Stockton is hurting. We are asking for justice. We're asking for justice now. We're asking for justice now. And these are the demands that we are asking as community members, as friends, in organizations. We're asking that one, you release the names and disciplinary records of the officers who brutally beat Jackie Servin. Two, that you fire, arrest, and charge the officers for their actions.
Right.
Three, that you provide an update on the protocol investigation to the public. Sheriff Pat Winthrop, to develop a community oversight, community that is creating with community, as mentioned in their mission statement, dedicated to delivering quality services through creation of partnerships with the people we serve, and community partnerships are the foundations. Live by that.
Right.
5, we also urge the immediately release that they work towards creating a new policies that bring transparency and accountability for officers that work in the San Joaquin County jails. We have family members right here in these county jails that are also subject to this type of violence.
Right.
They're subject to this type of violence. If we have done this to any community members, we would be right here right now. We would be behind these bars and treated like everyone else is treated, unfairly and unjust. So we ask that somebody stands up. The DA, the sheriff, the mayor, whoever it is, stand up and show this family that we care by bringing us justice. 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 Now. That's right. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Again, that will conclude our press conference. You can follow Jacob again on his social media platforms at Jaykie, Jaykie. You can also sign the petition at bit.ly/justiceforjaykie, bit.ly/justiceforjaykie, Jaykie. For more information, continue to follow Jaykie, his journey, and also his petition and campaign to fight for justice. For more updates, you can also continue to follow through those sites. Thank you very much.